this weekend is the 5th anniversary of the killing of George Floyd. I'll be with his family. I can't stand for justice for George Floyd and ignore a man that goes and kills 2 innocent civilians coming out of a Jewish museum. This wasn't even political. And act like it's all right just to profile them because they're Jewish and then try to act like this is going to help free anybody.
The Right Reverend Al Sharpton, the $1 million NBC News journalist, shouting down the Jews that were assassinated last night by a terrorist hate crimer. And the Democrats love it. And was just because we're profiling them as Jewish because they're at a Jewish museum coming out of a Jewish museum event. And then the guys chanting free, free Palestine. The Reverend Al Sharpton has an IQ of negative 78, approximately. He's one of the dumbest corrupt people in the country. Well, a very good Thursday morning to you, and welcome back. We remain at 888-630-9625. George Floyd is George Floyd. God, they love St. George Floyd. He had fentanyl and methamphetamine coursing through his system. According to the Hennepin County Chief Medical Examiner, Dr. Andrew Baker, George Floyd died of cardiopulmonary arrest. That's a heart attack, complicating law enforcement subdual restraint and neck compression, which is following the book in police training in Minneapolis. But they lie about everything. He's a psychopathological liar. He's the Reverend Al Sharpton.
I have to be the most inept charlatan in the country.
I think he needs more respect than that, don't you think? I think the Reverend Al, and honestly, his lies are so big, I think Gurgle would blush at the Reverend Al.
So in the words of my late friend Aretha Franklin, show some RESPICT.
Ah, yes, he's an award-winning journalist. I guess he doesn't write his own scripts. That's pretty amazing stuff. But he does spread propaganda like nobody's business. He's a first-rate propagandist, kind of like the Democrat Party's old-school people. They love that propaganda, don't they? Did I hear you correctly say that perhaps he was influenced by Gurgle? Could have been Gurgle he was influenced by. Was he selling a mouthwash when he said that? Because he probably should get a hold of some mouthwash at least. Speaking of Democrats and murdering Jews, as the genocidal lunatics are fond of doing, I have a small update on the shooting at the CIA entrance very early this morning, hours after a Democrat assassinated 2 people for being Jewish because he's a racist anti-Semite. Very, very heavily influenced by the Democrat Party and their rhetoric. But guards at CIA headquarters they shot a woman in a security incident just hours after D.C. Jewish Museum shooting. That shooting was a double homicide, a racist, genocidal, anti-Semitic, Democrat Party double homicide. A female driver was shot at CIA headquarters early Thursday in what the agency called a security incident. What else would you call it? After how can we assume she's a woman? Have they checked to see? Because, a lot of Democrat men have vaginas now. I don't know if you're aware of that, but they have ovaries, they have wombs, they can have babies. They've got the emoji right there on your iPhone of the pregnant man. But after allegedly kind of an assumption, refused to follow commands at a checkpoint. It's the checkpoint right at the main gate off of Route 123. Not too far outside of the Washington, D.C., the border of Washington, D.C., when you cross the Potomac River there. According to law enforcement sources and local police, the non-fatal shooting, kind of sad, don't you think? But now if she's really a she, can be waterboarded and maybe get some electroshock, something like that. The non-fatal shooting occurred before 4 a.m. outside the agency's main gated entrance in McLean, Virginia. A Fairfax County Police Department spokesperson, no gender there, confirmed. Fairfax County Police Department officers are currently in the area providing traffic support while the CIA conducts its investigation, the representative of the Fairfax County Police said. Does it have anything to do with the double homicide at the Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C.? Hard to say. But if you work at CIA, you know, the front gate of CIA is closed until further notice, so you're going to have to use one of the other gates to the CIA. CIA spokesperson confirmed, again, no gender. In a statement, this is the New York Post, there was a security incident that law enforcement responded to outside CIA headquarters. The main gate is currently closed until further notice. Additional details will be made available as appropriate, which means that could be years, because when they say appropriate, you know. The shooting came just hours after 2 Israeli embassy staff members were gunned down outside D.C.'s Capitol Jewish Museum, about 12 miles outside of Langley. I don't think it's that far. I think to go look at their map again. The New York Post has reached out to the FBI for comment. Sure, who hasn't? And then, I did it for Gaza. Who is Elias Rodriguez, the gunman arrested for murdering the 2 Israeli embassy employees? Far-left activist who murdered 2 Israelis. Rodriguez is reportedly, and it's on his social media, a member of the Party for Socialism and Liberation, which posted an anti-genocide pledge on its social media not too long before the double homicide. And at Columbia, let's go to Columbia University, because they're an epicenter of modern Nazism. They call it liberalism, kind of ironically, perhaps. But my erstwhile colleague at CNN, Claire Shipman, now the acting president of Columbia University, yesterday at a commencement there, Claire Shipman, who's the acting president of Columbia University, a graduate of Columbia University, a veteran of ABC fake news and of CNN News, used to be their middle name when I was there, but no more. And Claire Shipman yesterday singing the praises of Mahmoud Khalil, who is a member of an organization dedicated to the total destruction of the state of Israel and to the destruction of Western civilization. And Mahmoud Khalil is a hero of the Democrat Party, just like the murderer of CEO Brian Thompson. Luigi Mangione is a hero of the Democrat Party. Here's the acting president of Columbia University. Honestly, I'd say, she was a friend of mine when we worked together. I always liked Claire. And she's now parroting the party line.
And let me also say that we firmly believe that our international students have the same rights to freedom of speech as everyone else, and they should not be targeted by the government for exercising that right.
Kill the Jews.
And let me also say that I know many in our community today are mourning the absence of our graduate, Mahmoud Khalil.
Our graduate. Yay, and the crowd goes wild. And then they slung some Jews up from trees and killed them and set them on fire and chanted from the river to the sea. And yesterday at Columbia University, we had the mob out in the street, and they were singing from the same songbook as the terrorist double homicide boy from yesterday. Isn't that amazing? Because the Democrats, and they got their guy Elias Rodriguez. He's their new Luigi Mangione. He'll become a hero of Democrat girls everywhere. They want Elon Musk murdered, assassinated. They want Trump murdered, assassinated. And they're teaching schoolgirls this. They smile, and there's a twinkle in their eye when they talk about murders and assassinations on college campuses. Yesterday at Claire Shipman's Columbia University. Free, free, free Palestine. And let's go to number one, because here is the murderer of the 2 Israeli embassy employees yesterday. His name is Elias Rodriguez.
Free, free Palestine!
Gee, I wonder where it comes from. And he wasn't gunned down, but probably should have been. Just amazing stuff. Man, I'm telling you. It's now they got. Was this lady a terrorist at CIA? Was she fighting the patriarchy or something? Just amazing stuff. Now let's go to number 5. The Israeli ambassador. Now this guy is the Israeli ambassador to the U.S. not to the United Nations, but we have him on the record today as well. Israeli ambassador to the United States of America, Yashil Leiter.
The couple that was gunned down tonight in the name of Free Palestine. It's a young couple about to be engaged. The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem. Together we won't be afraid. Together we'll stand, and we're going to overcome moral depravity of people who think that they're going to achieve political gains through murder.
Well, the Democrats celebrate this. Luigi Mangione murdered Brian Thompson, a CEO with 2 children and a wife, and the Democrats are celebrating him. All their daughters want to date him, and I'm using a euphemism there. And we've played audio already today of these college women saying, oh, we love him, and he's the hottest, and we hope more CEOs are killed, and we hope that Elon Musk is assassinated too. And these are girls. This is what the Democrat Party, 100% Democrat Party, doing this. Just amazing. All right, now let's go to number 6. There was a young woman who was a witness she was inside the museum in Washington, D.C. last night, and the shootings happened. The people inside heard a barrage of gunshots. They say more than 10 gunshots, and then the killer walked into the museum and acted like he was part of the party. Apparently, his magazine had been emptied. But here's a young woman who's a witness and not a Democrat psychopath. Her name is Katie Kalisher.
I was at the museum for this nice event, and suddenly we heard some gunshots coming from outside the building, maybe 10, 15 gunshots. And we didn't really understand what's going on, but there was a man who came in, and he's like saying, like, call the police, and he's covered in rain, and he looks very distressed. And so we're trying to offer him some help. And even one of my friends asks him, like, are you okay? Can I get you some water? And he's like, yeah, actually, that'd be great.
They're asking him. They're being nice because they're civilization, and he's the left. He's the opposite of civilization. Just remarkable stuff. And they're saying, hey, can we get you? He's like, yeah, I'll take some water. And they get him water. This is the killer.
And I'm like, so do you like this museum? And he's like kind of playing dumb with me. He's like, oh, what kind of museum is this? And I'm like, it's a Jewish museum. And he asks, do you think that's why they did it, in reference to the gunshots we had heard? And I was like, yeah, maybe. I don't know, but I don't think so. I hope not. And that's when he reaches into his bag and pulls out a keffiyeh and says to me, I did it. I did this for Gaza. And then he starts shouting, free Palestine. And the police show up and arrest him.
And the police show up, and they say it's about 10 minutes. There's a gathering, an event at the Jewish Museum. And with the Democrats, there are no police there because the Democrat mayor and the Democrat city council, hey, maybe we should put some police on the Jewish thing. No chance. Katie Kalisher on her experience last night.
I think that anti-Semitism is out of control in this country. This is not the first time that I've been victim to an anti-Semitic attack. I'm actually lesbian, and I go to a lot of nightclubs in D.C., and in fact, the LGBT community has been quite unwelcoming to me as a Jewish person. I've been asked to leave the clubs because of necklaces that I wear, and this is just not the first time, and I don't think it's going to be the last time that I'm going to be witness to an anti-Semitic attack.
Sure, you're a lesbian, but you're a Jew, so get out. This is liberalism. That's what they call it. It's not liberalism at all. It's leftism. And they're a danger to civilization itself. That sounds like hyperbole, but it's actually not. This is the United States of America. If we're gone, the world becomes a slave ship floating in space, and the Democrats will bayonet everyone to the ground. Man, I've got more coming up on that, too. And the big bad bill passing on Capitol Hill as well. You know, when a mother with an unplanned pregnancy is deciding about the future of her unborn child, it can be overwhelming, of course. She wants to make the right choice, but society, the world we live in, those people around her can very often be telling her, that's not a human life, that's not a baby. But Preborn's entire ministry is dedicated to loving these women and empower them to make the right choice, the choice of life. And it's an eternal moment in myriad ways. Briella was ready to take the abortion pill and end her pregnancy, euphemism, but the pill never came. So she decided to visit a preborn clinic, and after receiving a free ultrasound from Preborn, her eternal moment happened. Not only did her unborn baby wave at her, but she saw the heartbeat. She realized the baby was a baby boy that she had always wanted. So she kept the baby. Now she has a son. When you support Preborn, you're supporting life-affirming clinics nationwide with free ultrasounds to help empower a young mother to choose life. Your tax-deductible donation of $28 a month is reaching eternity. It goes on in perpetuity. To get involved, it's very easy. Simply dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby when prompted to do so. That's dialing pound 250 and the keyword is baby. Or you can go to Al Gore's Amazing Internet and visit preborn.com/plant. That's me. Preborn.com/PLANTE. Very nice. All right, the Democrats have done it again. And we've got more. And how many Democrats voted for the big bill on Capitol Hill? That's coming up as well. I think they're trying to reassemble the Klan and roll it into Hamas, today's Democrat Party. Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris. All right, let us go back to the telephones, Michael. Let's go to Paul, calling from District Heights, Maryland. Paul, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
I just wanted to say I'm against the shooting that guy did. It's not going to help the Palestinian people in any way, but the Israelis it's karma coming back to them because they've been slaughtering the people of the Gaza Strip for the last year and a half, and Netanyahu is a genocidal war criminal. He belongs in prison, and Mahmoud Khalil did nothing wrong. He's a legal resident of this country. He was kidnapped by a bunch of goons who are fascist pigs. Well, anyway, I'm a little emotional, but that's basically all I wanted to say.
And you're an Obama, Biden, Harris voter.
I'm sorry?
And you're an Obama voter? Yes.
Only the first time did I vote for Obama.
Now, I love the lady Katie Kalischer who was there at the Jewish Museum last night, and she's an LGBTQ. Well, she's an L, right? I mean, how many of those letters can you be? You can only be, I guess she's G, L and G, right? She might be B. I can't. Who am I? Could be LGB. Doesn't appear to be T. And since she's right out there saying I'm a lesbian, I don't think she's Q. Well, it depends on which thing Q means today, right? Because if it's queer, then she's that too. But questioning, I can't say. There was another witness there, Yanni Callan. Yanni Callan was there, present for the event, and explaining, hey, what were you Jewish people doing at the Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C., not far from the U.S. Capitol, very close to the, they got FBI right there, I think on the block. The D.C. police headquarters is about a block away from this shooting last night. and Yanni Kellen was there.
Really started around 6:30. The event was a really special event, bringing together about over 30 embassies from, or staffers from 30 embassies from around the world, in addition to young professionals. And the conversations were about how can we work together with Muslim, Christian, and Jewish groups to bring aid into Gaza. And so the irony of this violent, horrible crime is that we were trying to find logistical solutions and humanitarian solutions to actually help people.
It's almost as if this terrorist murder socialist liberation party, Joe Biden donor, and he is a Joe Biden donor in addition to being a murderer, terrorist, hate crimer, run-of-the-mill Democrat, pretty much ordinary Democrat. The Democrat Party is responsible for this. The Democrat Party did this. The Democrat Party should be held accountable for this. The Democrat Party will not be held accountable for this because our filthy, corrupt news media will pretend that it's got nothing to do with any of that. Nothing at all. Yanni Kellen, again, on the television this morning, describing what he witnessed last night.
Nobody knew what was going on. We thought it could have been gang violence. We thought it could have just been, standard DC crime. Next thing you know, police are scrambling. Nobody knows what's happening inside the actual building. And while this is all happening, we could clearly see that the perpetrator right now is in shock. So people were bringing him water, checking in on him, showing value. And we didn't know that he was a killer at this time.
They all look alike, don't they? They just look like Democrats. And isn't it great? 30 representatives from 30 embassies, and you got Muslim, Jewish, and Christian people gathering and you know what the goal was? To find how they could help the people of Gaza. I think maybe a nuclear weapon is right in order there. Isn't that amazing? Yanni Kellen, it's D.C., and it's a Jewish group, and it's going to be largely liberal. And the lesbian lady was there who was harassed by the Democrats at lesbian bars because she was wearing a Star of David or something. Our friend, my best girl, and I had a friend at our place over the weekend, Tommy, visiting from New York. And he gave us each a gift in a small gift box, a little jewelry box. And it's a metal Star of David with a chain to wear around your neck, a small metal Star of David. And the Star of David and the chain are made from the fragments of missiles used in Israel to defend against rocket attacks launched by Hamas, the genocidal terrorist organization, which enjoys the complete support of the Democratic Party in the United States of America. They should be wearing armbands and hobnailed boots and goose-stepping together, as they pretty much do, like they did on the vote on the big bill on Capitol Hill. Yanni Kellen.
It's really just a shame that an event trying to bridge gaps between different religions and trying to find humanitarian solutions was, ruined by a murderer who decided to take out his radical views on two innocent lives.
Why didn't he just go to the Israeli embassy and self-immolate, as Democrats? Normally their suicide attacks are not always murderous. Sometimes they only murder themselves, like the Democrat that murdered himself, blowing himself up in a Tesla truck or whatever it's called, at the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, where he blew himself up with the car bomb and filled it with nail bombs. He tried to kill people, but he only killed himself. And who was that? Another one self-immolated the other day. Another Democrat self-immolated just the other day. Was it over the weekend? The Democrats, their suicidal death cult, a murderous death cult, the Democrat Party. And don't forget to send a check to Planned Parenthood, because the bloodthirsty ghouls will stop at nothing. On CNN, formerly a news organization, they have an anchorwoman, Sarah Seidner. She's not a journalist. She's kind of creepy. This whole thing was kind of creepy today. A witness, Jonathan Epstein, who was there last night for the terrorist attack by the Democrat Party, the double murder of Jews because they're Jews, by the Democrat who's a member of the Party of Socialism and Liberation. Elias Rodriguez, a Joe Biden donor. He's a literal Joe Biden donor as well. Jonathan Epstein was there, and he's telling what he saw. I want to give his verb, but Sarah Seidner, the fake anchor, the fanker, she's like Jake Tapper over there, whose wife is a Planned Parenthood executive, because you got to, break out the meat tenderizer and kill all the little babies before they grow up. More parking for everyone, Jonathan Epstein there on CNN this morning, and listen to the fake news anchor.
I just saw him screaming and then being handcuffed. But what I saw in his eyes, I went to Columbia for grad school, and I saw the same thing in his eyes as I saw in the eyes of all the protesters at Columbia. Nothing different between him and them.
But they did not create this horrific shooting. They did not, they didn't shoot.
They gave permission. They gave the permission. And they've called for this. They have called for Intifada revolution, which is the same thing he yelled last night.
He's yelling free, free Palestine. At Columbia University yesterday, they're yelling free, free Palestine. At Columbia University yesterday, the acting president, the interim president, Columbia University, Claire Shipman of ABC News and CNN, was decrying the fact that Mahmoud Khalil, who wants to destroy Western civilization and all the Jews on earth, that he wasn't there to graduate. He's like 34 years old or something, and he's supposed to get a master's degree in killing Jews. And it's pretty amazing stuff. Now, why did Sarah Seidner jump in, say, well, but she's defending the anti-Semitism at Columbia University, and by extension, defending the double homicide.
Do you worry that there will be a conflation, though, of the two, those people who are speaking their mind, who really care about what is happening in Gaza, and those people who are like this person who did this horrific shooting, who intend to do harm?
What?
A conflation. They are calling for Intifada. At Columbia University, they call for Intifada constantly. They're not quietly. They're loud. They're loud. You can hear it. They make recordings of themselves. So what's the difference?
So the news media, CNN, a woman named Sarah Seidner, is actively, not passively, leaping to the defense of the anti-Semitic plague at Columbia University and in New York City and among Democrats across the country. And when Jews are being gunned down, the eyewitness is being slapped back by a smug anchorwoman, an award-winning anchorwoman, who is supposed to be a journalist. And she said, well, yeah, but they didn't actually shoot the, just the communists who were fair play for Cuba didn't actually shoot John F. Kennedy. They just supported everything that Lee Harvey Oswald supported. Isn't that amazing? And young Mr. Epstein, who was describing the anti-Semitism that he's experienced at his university, Columbia University, where I played the audio for you of them chanting "Free, Free Palestine," the exact same thing that the killer, Elias Rodriguez, was chanting yesterday. No coincidence, but it's just they're not in the same. Sarah Seidner is trying to throw cold water on it.
Are you afraid?
Yes.
What will you do about
that? Everyone should be afraid.
What are you doing to try to make yourself feel safer?
Why can't you just go on and live your life? I'm a New Yorker. I remember 9/11. You can't let them make you be afraid. You have to go on. You have to live your life, and hopefully your government does things to protect you. Last night, our government failed us.
Who perpetrated 9/11? Any relationship there between A and B? Now the Democrat Party are going to start hijacking planes and crashing them into just absolutely berserk. You people are severely mentally disturbed. Again, number 15, Columbia University yesterday.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
And the shootings came hours later, and then the killer was chanting "Free, Free Palestine."
Free Palestine!
That's him. Hours later. Isn't that amazing? Now, Columbia University student Eliana Golden talking about anti-Semitism and the trends at Columbia University.
It's absolutely heartbreaking But it's not unexpected, right? When you start to normalize anti-Semitism and you normalize anti-Semitic rhetoric, then what do you think is going to happen, right? When you chant globalize the Intifada and the newspaper has done this, right? They've lauded the protesters and been proud of them and made them look like the good guys, and the Zionists on campus are the bad guys. And what do you expect? They say globalize the Intifada, and then they're going to globalize the Intifada.
I'm a Zionist. I'm an Irish Catholic, Basque Catholic, and I'm a Zionist because I believe Israel has right to exist. You know why? Because the Democrats are a threat to the Jewish population on the planet Earth, and they're mainstream. This is the global left, and the global left has decided that the jihadis are the victims of civilization encroaching on their anti-civilization, and therefore civilization must be stopped. Eliana Golden.
Are you glad school is over now so you can move forward and be safe?
I can't wait to get out of there. I'm grateful.
Graduating yesterday from Columbia University, I can't wait to get out of there. She's, I can't wait to get out of there. The Democrat Party is so close to being the Nazi party in America in the 21st century. Just amazing. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is the #1 Democrat in the country, according to new polling out. And James Carville said he'd vote for her to be Satan, and which is the Democrat Party nominee. And they, after school Satan Club, and what was he? We had a Satan story for the Democrats yesterday. They, it's pushing the Satan posters in high schools. The Satanic Temple, which is a Democrat Party group. AOC last year in 2024, talking to students in New York at Columbia University.
It is especially important that we remember the power of young people shaping this country today, of all days, as we once again witness the leadership of those peaceful student-led protests on campuses like Columbia, Yale, Berkeley, and many others.
And Luigi Mangione, a hero of the Democrat Party, for assassinating a CEO on the sidewalks of New York. Isn't that amazing? And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on the floor of the House of Representatives in the United States of America. Those poor Hamas people who in their charter call for the death of every Jew in Israel and wiping Israel off them. They've only been there for 4,000 years. Now, they want the white people to leave South Africa because they've only been there for 400 years, whereas all Europeans have only been in North America and South America for 400 years. We've been doing a pretty good job here, too. Got an alphabet and everything. Isn't that great? And by the way, African Americans have only been here for 400 years. And by the standard that they're applying to white South Africans, they should all go back to, who was the Democrat congresswoman said they should go back to Germany. South Africans were originally Dutch, but never depend on a Democrat to know anything. As Ronald Reagan famously said, it's not that Democrats don't know anything, it's just that so much of what they know is wrong. And that's perfectly typical of day. Here's AOC.
If you want to know what an unfolding genocide looks like, open your eyes.
Planned Parenthood?
It looks like the forced famine of 1.1 million innocents.
Forced famine.
We must write our story
which is
in
not
this moment
lie.
Of what it means and who we are as Americans.
Yeah.
And our story must be not that we were good men who did nothing.
Yeah, all that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. First of all, you're not a man, as far as we know. I've seen you with those tight pants. I'm pretty sure I'm right about this. And these people are the danger to civilization. The #1 danger to civilization in the world today, on the planet Earth, is not Hamas or Hezbollah or even Iran. It's the American left. Because if they can take the United States off the field of play for the planet Earth, then the Earth will slip into a dark age, in the nuclear age. And they're helping Iran spin centrifuges and enrich uranium and advance their ballistic missile program too, condemning Israel, defending Hamas, which is an actual genocidal organization. Israel has been providing medicine, electricity, and clean water to even Hamas in Gaza for years and years now. The Democrats are on the wrong side of everything. They are a pox on our house. Hey, maybe you've had enough of big wireless, the big wireless companies. You know who they are and the runaround they give you. That's why it's time to switch to Consumer Cellular. I got my new Consumer Cellular a little over a week ago. And, boy, it's a humdinger. Let me tell you, it's a beauty, just a honey. And you're going to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as the big wireless companies, but without the big wireless prices and without the mega corp shenanigans. You know how they are, where they force you into an unlimited data plan that costs a lot of money that you don't even need. Consumer Cellular isn't a prepaid option. You get to pick your plan, and you know exactly what your bill is going to be every month. No surprises, no tricks. And it's incredibly easy to switch, too. All you have to do is call. And you're going to talk to an actual human being on the phone, not a computer with punching buttons. And they're based right here in the United States, the people you talk to, right here in the United States. They make switching your plan fast. They make switching your plan easy. And right now, you can get your second month free because we're friends and we hang out together with my special promo code Chris. How easy is that? Just Chris. Taxes and third-party fees will apply, so check out consumercellular.com/Chris for more information or call them at 800-760-0702. Yes, sir. Yeah, the Democrat Party's a big problem. And we still have their problem on Capitol Hill, too. We have that coming up as well. Not just where they're gunning down people for being Jewish and then chanting free, free Palestine, but trying to pass bills for the American people. They're against us there, too.
Do you worry that there will be a conflation, though, of the two, those people who are speaking their mind, who really care about what is happening in Gaza?
He really seems to care. About what, I have no idea.
Also, did you see our EPA chief, Lee Zeldin, who's a fine American, yesterday on Capitol Hill with the racist Democrat from Rhode Island, Senator Sheldon Whiteman, Sheldon White's Only Club. Sheldon Whitehouse, his actual name is Whitehouse. He could never run for president. He's got a very wealthy wife, pays his dues to their Whites Only Yacht Club, because when you're a Democrat, that's fine, since you're from the party of the Confederate States of America and the KKK. But I've got that coming up, too. Also, amazingly, Lee Zeldin posted on Twitter just a short time ago. He met 2 weeks ago the young woman that was murdered last night in Washington, D.C. in the terrorist attack by a Democrat who is a member of the Party of Socialism and Liberation, and a Joe Biden donor. Lee Zeldin met Sarah 2 weeks ago, he said, in his office at the EPA headquarters. And he's got a picture of himself with her. She struck me as a young woman filled with life and positivity.